Coming to you straight from Indianapolis, aka the Circle City, this is the Taking Back You Momcast. The Taking Back You Momcast is a witty, authentic, and sometimes sarcastic podcast for millennial mamas who are in the thick of mom life. And I'm your host, Dani Carter-Iddens, wife, millennial mama, motivational speaker, and motherhood advocate. Hello. This is Dani Carter-Iddens. You guys, welcome back to the Taking Back You Momcast. It is season 2. I can't believe it. We took a nice little summer break. Everybody enjoyed the summer and all the good stuff that came there. And now we are ready to go for our next season. Today we are it's just me today. I don't have any friends with me, although I will definitely have friends with me in the not so distant future. But today it's just me, and we are going to talk all about how to make friends. So the reason we're going to do that is if you I haven't been around a lot this summer, but if you didn't know, I moved to Indianapolis. So now Taking Back You Momcast and Taking Back You and DCI Enterprises, we are located in Indianapolis now. And so I have to do like that thing that we all have to do when we first move someplace. And it's like I have to meet people. I'm meeting people for the first time. Because here's the deal. When I lived in Valparaiso, I went to college there. And I met my husband at VU, at Valparaiso University. So I just kind of built up on something that I started in 2002. I'd been living in Valpo or in that area in some way, shape, or form for 17 years. And so it was really scary for me to move to Indy because I had the whole thing set up. I had my friends, family, everything situation. Luckily, my husband had family also in Valparaiso, and so we just never left. We never moved, and we just decided that it was time to change. There's a lot that we wanted to do, and we just did it. You know what I mean? We just did it. We had to do it. We finally put our foot down and said okay, we're changing. It's happening. But that becomes really scary because then I had a whole other thing that was going on. And that was the fact that I realized that now I'm here, I'm in Indy, and I know about 10 people, and they're all my family. I don't know anyone. And so it's really scary for me because to go from a situation where I knew everybody and I was all in to just not knowing anyone was what do I do now? How do I make friends? So I'm going to share with you the story of how I am kind of sort of making friends and what I'm doing to make friends, because I know for a fact I'm not the only person. So, okay. So when I got to Indy, the first thing I did, I got on Facebook. And you can say what you want to say about Facebook, but I do truly believe that Mark Zuckerberg had a good, idea when he started Facebook, and that was to help people, get in touch with other people, keep in touch with other people, and to just kind of network and become friends. I'm gonna be that person, and I'm gonna be positive, and I'm gonna believe that was the initial idea. I've seen the movie, so you don't know what's true or not. So I've seen the movie, the Facebook movie. But I'm going to choose to believe that he wanted to bring the world together. I'm going to go with that. But so the first thing I did was I got on Facebook, and I was okay, what are we doing, my people? What are we doing? What's up? Who lives where I live? And I got on a bunch of groups for people who lived in my area, who live where I live. So where I live now, which is a whole nother confusion. I live in a town, but my address is an Indianapolis address, but I'm considered to be in the city of Lawrence. And if I go down the street 2 steps, I'm in Geist. And if I go down the street 4 steps, I'm in McCordsville. It's very confusing. So you will hear me often if someone asks me like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I go, I don't know. It's really because I don't know. But whatever. So I went on, but luckily I don't think I'm the only one that doesn't know, because when I looked on Facebook for all the groups, I found all like 3 city like groups that were a combination of all the 3 cities that I'm like not sure if I live in them. Um, and so that was really cool and really comforting. So I just started going through and I started joining groups. And, I got approved because I had to say like what my address was, and I got approved. And then the next thing I know is I'm, in these groups. So cool. Okay, fine, whatever. I'm sitting at home on my Facebook and I'm in these groups. So then what's the next thing I started doing? Well, I just started like commenting, asking questions. I asked where was the best place to, you know, what was the best park to take your kids? I asked because I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, I'm not asking it just to be like, oh, help me. I know nothing. Like, I seriously had no idea. So I asked that. I asked, like, what do you do? Where does one go if one wants to take one's child to the park? And people told me. And not only did they tell me, but they were like, hey, if you want to, I can meet you over there, and, our kids can play, and, you and I could chat. I'll bring coffee, whatever. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, cool. All right. Well, let's do that. And then the other thing, now this is really sweet. So that was one way I met people. I met people on Facebook, and I actually have plans to have coffee with another mom that ended up being a mutual friend of, that we have a mutual friend in common. And that was just like random and like cool. Another way, and this is really funny because it's like our children are matchmakers. One of the big things that happened this summer, besides the fact that we moved to Indy, is that my little guy is now a kindergartner. He's in kindergarten here in Indy, and he loves it, loves it, loves it. And of course, being the social butterfly that he is, don't know where he gets it from, but whatevs. He goes to school, and within like 2 days, he's got a BFF. And he tells me, he's like, Mom, I have a BFF. I'm like, oh, you do? He's like, yes, I do. I have a BFF, and we're just like best friends forever. It's happening. Like, get used to it. So I'm like, oh, okay. So he's got a BFF, and his BFF is the cutest. I mean, they're just darling together. Like, to see them standing next to each other it's a cuteness overload. Like, you can't actually handle it, and it's like it knocks you down, the cuteness. Like, you just go into another dimension of cuticity. But he told me after like a couple of days, he's like, Mom, I really want him to come over. I want to do like a play date. And I'm like, well, dude, I don't have his mom's number. I don't have anything. He's like, well, that's okay. I told him our address. And I'm like, oh, dear God. Now he's telling people our address. That's another story, but whatever. The point is that I was kind of like, I don't have his address, baby doll. I don't know. I don't have his mom's number. I don't have his address. I don't know how to find these people. I don't know what to do. So he was kind of like, oh, okay, well, I invited him to dinner anyway, even though he doesn't exactly know how to get to our house because, kids. And it was just really funny, and it was really cute. But I mean, at the end of it, I really did not know how to get in contact with his mom. So the next day, I'm walking out of out of the school from picking him up, and a cute little woman walks up to me, and she's like, I'm sorry, excuse me, are you Alex's mom? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, well, I'm Hugo's mom. And I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, I've heard so much about Hugo. They're BFFs. And she's like, oh, I know, I hear the same thing. I hear all about Alex and how they're BFFs. And she said, well, it's so nice to meet you. And I said, oh, it's great. And we walked on. And I was like, okay, well, good. I've met his mom now, and like we're kind of in our, groove. But it's like dating again. And I say this because the next day, going to pick up Alex from school, and out comes Hugo's mom, and she says, I gave Hugo my number. to give to Alex to give to you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Thank you so much. I'll get it from him as soon as I pick him up. So I pick him up and I go, do you have Hugo's mom's number? And he goes, yes, it's in my backpack. So now I realize like our children are like, hooking up the parents here to like get us to become, acquaintances and hopefully friends so that they can hang out. And they've got the whole thing figured out. And I just thought it was absolutely adorable, this little thing. And my sister-in-law says, my gosh, it's like dating again. And I said, yeah, it kind of is, because you have to, like, you're dating. Like, you're literally like, I gave my number to someone who gave my number to someone who'll give it to you. And I felt like I was in freshman year of high school all over again, which I kind of believe, like, getting back into the elementary school, like, flow is kind of like back to high school again, because it's like, all those people, now we're all like adults and we all have children and are like, we're all judging again. It's weird, but I try not to judge because I don't want anyone to judge me. So I just go with that. But, it was really scary to like, and I'm sure it was scary for her too, because, like, that could have gone one or two ways. I could have been like, oh, great, thanks, cool, I'll hit you up. And I did text her. I texted her and I gave her my number. So now we have each other's numbers. But it could have also been like, I could have been like, ew, that's weird. Why are you giving me your number, woman I barely know? And I think that's what stops us. I think that's what stops so many of us from reaching out to, another mom, or saying hey, or offering to hang out, offering the hangout, because we're so afraid that the other person is going to think we're weird or is going to say no, or whatever. And what I thought about, like, I sat down and I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, I speak to moms, I speak to women, I speak to people. And I thought about that situation, and I thought about how brave she had to be to give her son her number to give to me. Because that is scary. It's a new situation, and it's a whole new world. Now we've got children who are going to school, and now we've got to make friends. You know what I mean? It's a lot. It's a lot of layers. And so I applaud her, and listen, I thank her, because it was probably going to take me another like 2 weeks to get around to doing it myself, if I'm being honest, because I had like a little initial anxiety. And, for even as much as I talk to other moms and I motivate you, it's kind of one of those things where, do as I say, not as I do, because I honestly probably would have waited another like couple of weeks before I reached out to her, and, and I talk to moms. That's like what I do. So, I just want to push how important it is to, kind of step outside of your comfort zone and reach out to other people who are kind of in your same boat, and to not feel like weird or uncomfortable about it, because you know what? 9 times out of 10, they probably also feel weird and uncomfortable. And wouldn't it be silly if we were all just not talking to each other because we were worried about the other person thinking we were weird, but then we just never spoke to each other at all, and nobody thought anybody was weird, but we just are all afraid, And I bet you that's probably closer to what it is than not. And you know what else works? Like smiling. I had to remember that, because I have been told by a friend of mine or two that sometimes my face doesn't look as friendly as it could, and that's just how I look. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. But I have made a really big effort in this move, in living someplace where I'm not really, familiar with the people, familiar with everything. I've made a really big effort to smile, to just try to have a friendly face. And because of that, people talk to me. People talk to me all the time. I told my family probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I said, I don't know if people are just like super nice down here, but I feel like everyone is just like, smiling, and they talk to you and you interact with people at the grocery store and nobody feels like uncomfortable or weird or whatever. And I just really appreciated that because, you don't know anybody and you feel weird. And so when you see like a smiley face at the store or something like that, it does make you feel better. And especially some of the people I see more than, I see like more than once because, we go to the same grocery store and our kids go to the same school and we do a lot of the same things. And so, you get to where you kind of see these people all the time. So what's the point of like being, I don't know, like just like sad and weird about it. Just like reach out, smile. That's literally all it takes. It takes a smile sometimes. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Like, trust me, it isn't. And 9 times out of 10, the person that you're smiling at is just, they're not judging. They're not even really like worried about you that much. They just are like, hey, oh, there's a nice person. She smiled. And you just never know what smiling can do. You never know what, opening yourself up to that energy, I guess, can do. And, the last thing when you're, trying to make friends, especially if you're in a new place, is that you just have to be patient. One of the things they teach you in business school is, now, okay, you're thinking, Dani, you've never been to business school. No, I haven't, but I did take business classes. And one of the things they taught us was that it takes about 7 contacts before a person says yes. So when you think about that in terms of friendships, you realize, okay, well, or anything, really, any kind of human contacts, it's probably going to take about 7, interactions before the person's like, all right, I guess you're cool. And so don't be discouraged. If, you reach out and you give a person your, phone number or your email address, or you send them a, Facebook friend request or whatever, and they don't like, jump up and say, oh my gosh, let's be best friends forever. It's probably not going to happen like that. And you need to be okay with that. And you need to realize that, that going in, that it's not going to happen just like magically, mystically. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you just meet your like friend soulmate and you pop it off right away. And you're just like super, attached to the hip, and your children grow up together and it's just wonderful happiness, sunshine, puppy dogs. But it's not always like that. That's the, exception, not the rule. So just be patient and realize that, you're worth it. You're worth the friendship. So if they are smart, they'll figure out how awesome you are and they'll go for it. They'll go for being your friend. That's really just all you have to know. I hope this helped. I hope that, this kind of helps you out with how to make friends. Listen, I could give you 1,000 tips on how to make friends. And I mean, I could probably do a part 2 on this next week because I really do think that it's important for moms to have friends. It's something that we don't do, especially when we get in our 30s. We kind of, you have your children and you just have your little crew and you just kind of stick with that and you don't go outside of, the family unit. And I mean, it's awesome that you're focused on your children, but you have to have friends too. You have to have people that are your age that you can speak to, that you can like have a, communication with. I talked about this before on a podcast episode last season, that you need people that are like your age to speak to. And it's okay to want that. It's okay to want people who are your age around, to speak to them, to bounce ideas off of them, whatever. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a great week. Next week, because, moms are awesome. I'm going to be at MomCon, which is MOPS International's annual convention for moms. I'm going to be there next week. And I'm going to pre-record an episode. So don't worry, there'll still be an episode for next week. but it's going to be pre-recorded. And I probably won't be as active on Facebook, Instagram, social media as usual, because I am going to be there to train. I'm going to be there to learn, and I'm going to be there to serve other moms. So, if you're like, hey, what happened to Dani? I'm probably going to be doing a lot more stories than, posts and interaction and things like that. Be sure to follow the Taking Back You Momcast. Follow us, subscribe to us. If you want any information about us, you can go to takingbackyou.com, or you can go to @DaniCarterIddens on either Facebook or Instagram. You can also go to @TakingBackYouSocial on Facegram. That's a new one. Facebook or Instagram to get more information about this show and about everything that we do at Taking Back You and that I do with motivational speaking. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you enjoy these last few minutes of August and these last few seconds, it feels like, of summer. And I will talk to you very soon. Thanks so much for listening. For more information on Taking Back You and the Taking Back You Momcast, visit us at takingbackyou.com. From there, you'll be able to follow us on social media, listen to past episodes, and learn all about the mission of Taking Back You. Be sure to subscribe to get future episodes. And from all of us at Taking Back You, thank you so much for your support.